Hi friends, welcome to the farm. Today I'm bringing you along into my high tunnel and show you what's growing and what I need to do in here today. So the layout of my high tunnel, I actually have 6 rows. 3 on this side, a main pathway going through that I can actually drive my golf cart through, and then 3 rows on the other side, and each row is irrigated. So to water this, all I do is come in the morning, turn on the irrigation, set the timer, voila, everything is watered, except my lemon tree. I'm so excited, this is the first year growing a lemon tree, so it looks good so far. Hopefully, eventually we'll get lemons off of this. But I do have to water that with a hose, it's not on the drip irrigation. So, I'll just start with the first row and show you what's growing.
So while you're moving there, this is a biler tunnel that is...
How big is it?
It's 30 wide and 96
Yeah, it's
long.
plenty big.
And it's the heavier duty biler. It's very, it's slightly larger and heavier duty frame because we're in an area that gets a lot of wind.
We get a lot of wind. When there's storms sometimes, I'm just thinking it's gonna blow away, the plastic's gonna tear, but it has held up every year. This is what, its 4th year?
It's very sturdy. So I'm glad we spent a little extra for it.
And if you notice, there's actually a shade cloth on here now. We put that on usually beginning of June, mid-June, because these are heat-loving crops, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, but they actually can get too hot in here. So you put a shade cloth on so it gets warm, but not too hot. And it actually makes it more pleasant to work in here. So the very first thing in this first row, well, I have bells of Ireland. I should show you these. These are interesting. I tried to start these about, 3 years ago. And I worked hard, tried to grow them from seed. I got like one plant, one sickly, measly plant. I thought, well, they're not worth doing. The next year, I had bells of Ireland coming up everywhere. And as I show you around, you'll see there's bells of Ireland everywhere. But they make a beautiful cut flower. I mean, they're stunning. So they're everywhere.
You do have a lot of flowers in here. Why are you growing flower? I think normally of a tunnel for vegetables.
Well, a couple reasons. I get them started early, so I have flowers earlier for the farm stand. Plus, it draws in pollinators. It does draw the bees in here. Plus, it's pretty.
Okay, so how do the bees get in?
There's 2 ends they can come in, and all the sides are rolled up every day. So they have plenty of easy access in here. And believe me, we see plenty of bees. And everything gets pollinated. So whatever we're doing seems to be working. So I'm going to keep doing it. But I always have zinnias for the farm stand. They're just one of the most beautiful flowers I can think of. And actually this morning I need to pick a bunch because the farm stand opens tomorrow. So I need to pick them and get them out and starting to
So how do you know which
overnight.
ones to pick? There's so many of
them.
them
For zinnias, if you do this and it wobbles back and forth, it's not ready. It will break off.
That one's pretty floppy, isn't it?
This one, however, is ready. So
okay.
I'll go through later and pick up. Now I'm not going to cut them pretty low because the lower you cut them, then the next batch gets longer stems.
So the more you cut, the more you get?
Yes. If you stop cutting flowers, they think, okay, I've produced my seed. I don't have to produce anymore. So you need to keep cutting them to get flowers. And actually these snapdragons didn't get picked hard enough.
Is that true with vegetables too?
Yes.
Like you keep harvesting?
Yeah, you got to pick the vegetables or they think, okay, I'm done. I don't need to produce anymore. So you need to harvest them, not just to get the food, but to keep them producing food. So this is a whole partial row of snapdragons, and snapdragons are just another charming flower. And this is a color, this is the first time I did this color this year, and I love this. So it's amazing all the different color combinations you can get in snapdragons. And of course there's always classic white. That looks good in any bouquet you do.
I was just noticing your posts here that you have, and then you have, what is that, some wire or fencing?
Yeah, this is an experiment this year. It's a netting for this, to grow flowers up through so they don't fall over. Because if snapdragons and zinnias fall over, they just grow from where they're at, and then you have a big bent stem. So you want straight stems. So it's going okay. I haven't been real diligent at keeping it growing through here, because like some of them are falling out the sides. But the ones that are growing through, it is working. So I probably just need to get better at keeping up with it.
So what are these sticks here?
That's to hold the netting. They're actually sticks you use to mark for snow, so you know where to plow. But you're not using them in the summer, so I use them for this.
Smart.
You can have them back in the winter to do your snow markings.
Yeah, you mark the edge of the grass and the driveway and the roads for plowing.
Now the next section does have some flowers. These are calendula, and you can use them for cut flowers, but I'm growing them hopefully for more medicinal purposes. Supposedly they make really nice skin lotion, so I hope to pick these and dry them and do some things with them. But they are just pretty. And these snapdragons are actually ones that came up from seed. I had some in here last year and they seeded, so I just popped them out wherever they were growing and put them back in here. But I need to go through. You don't want this to happen right here. This one has gone completely to seed. I'm a bad girl. So that plant will stop producing flowers. So I need to go through and cut off all the seed pods so it'll start producing flowers again. So snapdragons on this side. These are my peppers, which is another story. This spring I started seeds, and I know I started green peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, and jalapeno peppers. I had all of them. I don't understand quite how it happened, but almost all of these are jalapenos. Don't know what I'm going to do with all the jalapenos, but that didn't work out the way it's planned. And if you notice, I do have some tomato cages on them, but in one video I was experimenting with willow. I had cut the willow in the chicken yard and was turning it into like little round reeds and then sticking sticks through them. And they are working as support for peppers, because these aren't really designed for peppers and they end up falling out of them, the wires. But these things do seem to be working. So I guess if I trim the chicken yard again, I need to save some more willow and make more of them, because I didn't have enough for all the peppers.
So it's nice and warm now, so the peppers are really growing, huh?
They're happy. They're very happy. And I do have a few regular peppers, but I won't be selling them. I'll be keeping them for us because we need some peppers. And then on down here is some basil. And this, I believe, is actually holy basil, which I forgot to pick, and it's starting to go to seed. Flower. Yeah, it's starting to flower. And I might just let that go. I actually preserved a whole bunch of holy basil last year, so I don't really need this. I'll let it go to flower, and the bees will be very happy. And then here starts my tomatoes. I have a lot. I think I have 100 tomatoes. And these are the blueberry tomatoes. Donnie thought these were cool. He found them somewhere in Pinterest or YouTube. Thought I should try them. And they are a pretty blue while they're growing. But when they turn ripe, I don't have any ripe ones here right now. When they turn ripe, they're actually like an orange. So, I don't know. The name's kind of catchy, but they don't really look like blueberries when they're ripe. And then I have a bunch of just regular cherry tomatoes. I sell a lot of cherry tomatoes.
Okay, so what do you have? You have them going up on string.
Yes, I do. I single stem my tomatoes, which means I cut all suckers off. Like here's one I need to cut off today. As suckers, anything that grows between the stem and a branch that comes out. There's always a sucker that comes out in there. And you could have a whole tomato bush, but they grow more efficiently, get more ventilation, less fungus, less disease, and they're just easier to keep track of and harvest.
So these are what, indeterminate, right?
These are indeterminate. They will grow forever and ever, and by the end of summer, they'll be going up, and I'll probably have a string going across, and they'll be going across the top of the thing too.
So you don't have any determinate ones, do you, this year?
I actually do have a few. I did Romas.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do them for sun-dried tomatoes.
All right.
Smaller sauce tomatoes are easier to sun-dry than big ones, but my Romas are not doing real well, so I might still be sun-drying Amish paste. We'll see. But lots of cherry tomatoes. And notice I have to have this in the tunnel.
So they take a lot of maintenance though, don't they? What are like the clips that you have?
I come out once a week, nip off the suckers, and I usually nip off the bottom branch or two to keep it open and airy.
Yeah, and I look down below, I don't see any of the green, of the branch.
You keep all the bottom leaves trimmed up. It really keeps them much healthier.
Okay.
Air can get through, bees can get in, everything's much happier. But yeah, I use these little plastic clips, and just every so often I clip it up. Like, see, the one up there is clear up to the top.
Yeah.
So I need a string soon going across to the other wire so I can run him across there. And I'll have cherry tomatoes hanging down.
Okay.
So it's very efficient and it actually looks kind of cool. But I always have to have a step stool in here this time of year. You know, in the beginning of the season, you're down here working with these little plants. Well, now, almost everything is up. So I actually have 2 step stools. I'm constantly climbing up and down, taking care of what needs done.
So you just have a pair of your nippers and then a pocket full of those little round plastic.
And I just nip. I always have a bucket full to put the branches in, the suckers, whatever else I take off, and then clipping it up. And it keeps it, you know, where it's supposed to be. And it also, when they're smaller, the wind blows through here. When they're small and you're clipping them, it's also to keep the wind from breaking them off and blowing them around. So it really protects them in a lot of ways. I have some grape tomatoes, and not many of those are ripe. I actually just had my helper pick them yesterday. But there's some cherry tomatoes coming, grape tomatoes.
Now, I noticed the weeds are pretty good in here. What do you do for weed control?
Well, number one, since I'm only irrigating where the drip tapes are, that's the only place the water gets in here. So the weeds don't get watered except right where the plants are. And in the pathways, I put cardboard down and wood chip. And it never gets rained on, so the weeds aren't real prolific in here. There's some, but not like in the garden.
So that's one advantage of a high tunnel.
Yeah, except for one weed.
Yeah, and you need to get them out of there.
I know, I'm terrible. I raise monarch butterflies, and I just have a hard time killing milkweed. That's actually the time of year when the butterflies, the monarchs, are going to be laying their eggs soon. So I'm going to let them grow, because I got a lot of eggs off here last year. So long as they're not, now I had some that grew earlier and they had some aphids on them, which was transferring to the plants. I did take those out. They got yucky. So, but now they have fresh new leaves. The monarchs will be happy and they will lay lots of eggs, hopefully.
Okay.
And these are just starting some full-size tomatoes. These are actually called Pink ID or Pink It. It's P-I-N-K ID. They're from Baker's Seeds. And they never get really red. They get like a pinkish red, but they are really good. And they're always one of the first to get ripe. And they always have a beautiful shaped tomato. I mean, they're just like perfect little tomatoes. So they're great for the farm stand. And they do taste good. They're just not our favorite. So, and the rest of this whole row is just peppers. Lots of jalapeno peppers. If you have suggestions for them, let me know. I make cowboy candy and I make hot pepper jelly. How else can I use jalapeno peppers? I mean, I'll sell a lot at the farm stand, but we're still gonna have a lot of peppers. A lot of jalapenos. Now here's a point, some weeds do grow. This is actually a lamb's quarters. And see, it's where the drip irrigation goes through, so it got watered. And you'll see I do have nasturtium all through the tunnel. I had tried to grow a lot of marigolds too, but I think there's earwigs that ate the marigolds or something. But the nasturtium did do well, and I love them. They're just beautiful, and they do attract the pollinators, and they're supposed to keep some pests away. Whether they do or not, I'm not sure. But they look real nice. And these are just another row of tomatoes. There's some regular slicing tomatoes, along with a few grape tomatoes. I kind of have things mixed up this year, some on purpose, some by accident, because I got the seed packets mixed, the pots mixed up when I was planting them. But it works out.
That happens a little bit every year, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm not real, not real organized with my plants and seeds, but they grow and I have lots of food, so it works. And this is nice basil, and I actually did a big harvest of basil already, and freeze dried a bunch. But it looks like I should do another harvest because they're about ready to go to flower again.
So you have the basil mixed in with the...
Yes.
Okay.
Some people say it makes the tomatoes taste better and it fights away pests, but it makes sense because if you're making something, you're picking tomatoes, you're picking basil. And one clue, when you're picking basil, you want to pick it right where there's like a break of leaves, a leaf node. And what will happen is then, instead of that being one branch, that'll turn into 2 branches. So you actually see, I already picked it once, and what was one stem turned into like 8. Now I'm going to do it again, and it'll bush out again. So you can get quite a few cuttings off of basil. Now we're in the main pathway with tomatoes on both sides. This side is our favorite tomato of all, Cherokee Purple. If you've never tasted a Cherokee Purple tomato, go find one and taste it. They are just, I don't know, they're better than other tomatoes. We had one for breakfast this morning. But they grow nice. Now they are an heirloom, so they tend to crack. So when I pick tomatoes, I don't wait until they're red and ready to eat. I actually pick them when they're blushing. If they have a little bit of color, like this on the bottom, I pick it. And then it ripens inside. And once a tomato has that kind of a blush, it has everything it needs to ripen completely. And we can't taste any difference on one's ripened on the vine and one's ripened in the house.
We've tried many times.
And this way they don't crack. Bugs don't have a chance to eat them. No diseases have a chance to get them. You get much nicer, healthier tomatoes picking them when they blush. So that's my tomato picking tip. And now I do have one other maintenance item in here. By stringing them up, the string is really strong, but once in a while, the string will break. So here's a tomato down. I have to come out today, put new string on, and tie him back up.
911,
so
tomato
poor little
down.
guy, he didn't break. And they're
Tomato
usually nimble
down.
enough. They don't break, he just fell over. So I'll pull him back up and he will be just fine. But the tomatoes go on down here, and
So
then...
what happens when sometimes you see these and the leaves curl a little bit. Like,
They do that sometimes when they get really hot, or just some tomatoes do it. Now I do watch for stuff like this. This looks almost like a disease coming on a tomato. And I
Yeah.
do try to take any leaves like that. If it's a branch, I take them out. I don't know for sure, but it just doesn't look good, so I get it out of here.
Yeah.
But they stay pretty healthy. In the tunnel, they don't get rained on. The top of the leaves don't get wet. So they stay very healthy in the tunnel. And I can control the water. Most tomatoes crack because they're dry, and then you get a big rain. And all this water comes into the plant, and the tomatoes can't handle it, and they crack. So in here, I can control exactly how much water it gets, when it gets it, and I have very little cracking except the heirlooms. But then again, if I pick them in time, they don't crack. So now I'm in cucumber heaven here. And I do the same thing with cucumbers. I single stem them, I tie them up, and they end up going all over the place. Now these will grow and grow and grow, but one thing I need to do today is start a few more, because by the end of summer, some of these start looking pretty ragged and don't produce as well. So I'll start another small row just to make sure I have some healthy cucumbers by the end of summer.
So how do you decide when to pick them? When, you know,
Well,
like they've got a lot of monster.
Some of it's personal preference. This one right here is going to be picked today.
Yeah.
But then there's some that are like almost ready. I'd give him one more day. I still see some ribs on him. He's not that filled out. I want him completely filled out.
I'm going to ask you a question you probably can't answer.
Okay.
Why do cucumbers have those little prickly things on the outside?
I have no idea.
I was right.
Does anybody know? And they don't all have them on. These are Market More. And Market More do have those little prickly things on, but you can just easily rub them off and they're ready to sell. Now I have another kind down here. They're called Diva. And these, a viewer actually recommended that I plant. She said they're so much better than the other ones. And I'm sorry to say, they're good, but I don't think they're a whole lot better than the Market More. I don't know, but they do not have pricklies on them. They're as smooth as can be.
Yeah.
There's no pricklies on them at all. So there's different, there's one I missed. He's ginormous. See, once in a while they grow on the bottom and I miss them.
All right, let's take a look at that one.
He's really big. Now, if I get a cucumber like that I miss and it gets too big, sometimes if they get real old, they get bitter. They'll turn yellow and they're bitter. Now, that one's probably still okay, but what I'll do is I'll taste it. If it's bitter, guess who gets to eat it? The chickens. Nothing goes to waste in a garden. Anything that is not ready to
there's
sell
a
or to
monarch.
eat. Yes!
Oh.
That's the first monarch I've seen this year.
I saw one out in the field.
He's looking for milkweed. It's right
Yeah.
down there, honey. Go lay your eggs. See, it's time to start looking for monarch eggs. My grandkids all know how to find monarch eggs.
Yeah, he's going out the back door.
Well, there's some milkweed out there too. So we're out of the cucumber tunnel, and I'm excited about that because in about 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be a complete tunnel of cucumbers because I'm going to have them go across the middle. So that's going to be cool with cucumbers hanging down. Can you tell I like the looks of gardening as much as I like the food?
So tell me, you have irrigation.
Mm-hmm.
How long does the irrigation go in here? And do you do it every day?
I do every day. Some people say tomatoes like longer, deeper waters, but I find I have better luck with cracking and stuff. I do 20 minutes a day. Every day. Just the same amount every day. Keeps it alive, keeps them growing. It's not too much water. They don't crack. Because even the cherry tomatoes, if for some reason I do it longer, they will crack. So I keep it very under control. Now up front here, I have some interesting things. This is actually ginger. I grew ginger last year, but I grew it in pots. And they did okay, but they didn't get super big roots. So I'm trying it in the ground this year. We'll see what happens. And last year we made pickled ginger, which is really good. We're using it with our sushi. And we made candied ginger. Candied ginger is delicious. And
has a benefit, side benefit.
I'll tell you what, people that don't believe in holistic medicine, one night I had some reflux in the middle of the night and I tried Tums, tried drinking milk, nothing worked. And I started reading online. Somebody said, eat ginger. It makes reflux go away, which sounds counterintuitive because it's kind of spicy. But I went downstairs, got some candied ginger, ate it, reflux gone. And I've done that 2 other times since then. So for 3 times I've had reflux. I eat a piece of candied ginger, it goes away. I'm kind of a believer at this point. So I want to grow a bunch more of this and make a bunch of candied ginger. And a lot of people that taste it like it, so I'll probably be giving a bunch of it away.
Yeah, for me, I just like the way it tastes.
Oh, it tastes good. It's also a really good breath mint.
Yeah.
If you're out somewhere, just grab a little piece of candied ginger. You have delicious breath.
Yeah.
So, and this also was kind of an experiment. We grow strawberries, and I wanted to see if I grew some inside the tunnel, if we could get strawberries really early. And they came a little bit earlier, but not a whole lot earlier than the ones in the garden. Now I'll keep them in here for this year. Next spring we'll have some tomatoes, strawberries. They're both red, but these are strawberries. So they're doing okay, but it wasn't really a success of an experiment.
Hey, so I'm looking behind you there. It looks kind of junky in the corner. Is that the sign of a real gardener?
This is a real high tunnel. Like I say, I use cardboard in the pathways. So I always have to have a pile of cardboard that I've broken down and ready to spread. And it's just a matter of laying it down, putting wood chips over top of it.
So what else? You have all your harvesting bins?
That's all my harvesting bins, and then there's some milkweed and my irrigation tape. This is my drip tape. If I ever have a line that springs a leak, you just spread this out, put a new line in, I'm ready to go. So a lot of supplies in here too. It's growing and beautiful, but
yeah.
some
and
is
then
just
on
real
this side you have your kind of workshop.
That's a real mess. I haven't been able to use the workbench all season because it's a mess. And to be honest, there was a bunch of spider webs on there, so I didn't want to touch the spider webs.
Now we get to the root cause.
I hate spiders. So someday, maybe I'll get Donnie to come out and get rid of all the spider webs, and then I'll use that table. We'll see.
All right.
So there's only 2 more rows to go. The beginning of the row here are dahlias. They're just beautiful for cut flowers. And this is going to be an experiment. In our climate zone, zone 7A, a lot of times you have to pull dahlias out of the ground, dry them, and keep them over the winter. They won't come back the next year. It's too cold. I'm going to see if in the tunnel here, if I cover them with some cloth, if they make it through to next spring. So these may be here again next year. That remains to be seen. So I didn't do a bunch because I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to find out.
You do like to experiment, don't you?
I do. You just never know what's going to work and what's not.
Yeah.
And this little row of snapdragons isn't looking so good. It got some kind of fungus. I probably planted them a little too close together, not enough air, and part of them have some kind of weird thing. So I kind of cut most of those out. And the ones on the ends don't look so bad. And here's another experiment.
Do you think that's a downside in a tunnel? You get a little less airflow.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, but that's why I keep everything trimmed up, opened up, so there is more airflow coming through. Those I probably did plant a little too close together. Now the next little bit here is also an experiment. My lavender bed outside the tunnel was beautiful, filled with lavender. I harvested boatloads of lavender every year. Last winter it got down to -10 and was really windy. It was too much for the lavender. I'd say 90% of them died. So I bought some new lavender starts, and I have some in the garden, but I wanted to put some in here to see how they did. And it'll be interesting to see how they do over the winter. I'll probably have to water them once or twice over the winter, but for right now, they're about twice the size of the ones in the garden.
Wow.
So I'm thinking this might be a good place to grow lavender in the tunnel. Plus they'd be protected from some of the temperatures and the cold winter winds.
So being a skeptic, I would wonder, is the soil similar? Do you
It's very similar.
Put more fertilizer in here?
Nope, same compost, same soil, same everything.
Okay.
So, and now I hate to kill any plant. Here is a volunteer cucumber. I had cucumbers in here last year, and this just kind of sprung up. So I'm probably gonna let him go. I'll just put a string up here and string him up here, because the new ones I'm gonna plant right opposite here. So this will be another little cucumber patch. Just one of them will be on this side. Okay. And I'm pretty sure he's a market more.
Okay.
So I'll probably clip his bottom leaves up so he doesn't interfere with the lavender, but I'm gonna have a cucumber.
Well, speaking of volunteers, I see behind you there a big
Yes. one. I had sunflowers in here 1 year. And of course they drop some seeds and they end up springing up everywhere. Well, they get too big for the edges of the tunnel because it's too short, which one is already touching the roof down there. But this one, I went ahead and let grow. And there's a couple other ones, I just let them grow where they are. And it's just, I don't know, I like it, it's pretty. And for sunflowers, they're beautiful. And they do draw the bees in. The bees they're usually covered in bees. But when they go to seed, they turn into chicken food. So sunflowers, I love them. They're good for so many things. Now this next little part of a row is some squash, some zucchini squash, both green, well, all three, green, yellow, and the little round zucchinis. And I have a bunch out in the garden that are producing now, but I usually end up with squash bug and squash vine borer, and most of them will die off. So I have another planting started. And I wanted to see what they did in the tunnel. I had this space open, thought, well, let's try it. But some of them didn't come up, so I actually need to reseed a couple squash right here. But so far, they look like they're doing great, and they're actually just about to get flowers on. So who knows, maybe the squash bugs won't find them in here. Dare to dream? Well, these are my Roma tomatoes. These are my determinant tomatoes. They just grow to a certain size, give you all their tomatoes, and die. I do not like determinant tomatoes. They just are messy. You can't see to pick them. And they get so full, they get diseases and funguses. So this little patch right here, I've cut so many branches out because they're diseased. So I'm going to get some Roma tomatoes this year, but it might be my last year ever growing plain Romas. I will be growing indeterminate sauce tomatoes. So lesson learned. I'll get some tomatoes, but not worth it. Now the end of the row here, the tomatoes, it's a bunch of cherry tomatoes followed by my Amish paste, which are wonderful for sauce and paste. And I mean, the Romas get to be about this big. Amish paste get this big. So I mean, I love growing Amish paste, and they will grow and grow and grow until the frost hits. And these are another I'll probably have strung across the side here. I don't have Amish paste tomatoes.
So how do
hanging
they
down.
Compare taste-wise to the Romas?
I don't think I noticed any difference in taste. But
They're
it's
just
so much
bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. But for sun drying, they take longer to dry because they're so big. That's what I was growing the Romas for, to hopefully do sun-dried tomatoes. They would dry quicker in the sun. These did dry when we did them, it just took longer.
They cut them in smaller pieces.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to try something. But the grandkids like coming in and just picking cherry tomatoes off of those. But I have a bunch of Amish paste. And I may start a few other tomato plants yet, just in case, especially Cherokee Purple. I'll probably start a few of those, just in case something happens to our Cherokee Purple, because I want Cherokee Purple as long as possible until they have to die in here. It gets too cold. So lots and lots and lots of tomatoes. I'm excited.
So back to the big picture, you know, some people talk, what, you got low tunnels, high tunnels, and greenhouse. What's the difference with greenhouse? Is it just they have heat?
Yeah, greenhouses, well, a lot of times they're glass. Not always, but usually glass or something like that, a more substantial thing, and they have heat. High tunnels are exactly this, high. They're very big, like a big walk-in area. Low tunnels are usually just little hoops you put over plants low, just to kind of give them a little extra protection.
Hoop tunnel.
And in the spring, I do, when I start lettuce and spinach and kale in here early, I will have tunnels, and I'll actually start them in the fall. Some I'll start in the fall, put a tunnel over them in the winter. And so they're protected. I mean, they have a tunnel here, tunnel here. They grow all winter long.
And you know the advantage is they don't have to be very strong because they're not going to get any wind.
Now, out in the regular garden, with our wind, I have to put rocks and sandbags to hold anything like that down. In here, just lay them down, maybe one rock here and there.
Yeah.
They stay in place. So yeah, the tunnel has a lot of advantages over the garden.
Just a few disadvantages.
Yes, yeah. And that's just the airflow. And we have fans that somebody hooked up for me wonderfully.
Yeah.
And they do kick on if it gets too hot in here, and it provides some circulation. And I have just a big blow fan which will blow some air, but most of it's just natural air blowing through the sides.
And I like the shade cloth because we're out in the sun now,
Yes.
but we're only getting like 50% of the sun.
And the plants are happier. I mean, they actually can get sun scorched, sunburned. It can be too much for them. But as you can see, they're very happy.
Yeah. And you're happy.
Happy plants, happy gardener.
Yeah.
So now I just have to get to work harvesting tomatoes that are blushing, the cucumbers that are ready, and a bunch of jalapeno peppers and some flowers.
All right, so we're going to close out with you just picking?
Yep, we can do that. So I thank you for joining me, and we will see you in our next video.